Well, welcome in and thanks for joining us today. I'm joined here today with Carson Lambos. Carson, how's the season going so far this year?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously a lot of learning in my first year of pro and trying to soak everything in. Just trying to work out the kinks, but no, it's been a lot of fun and I'm really enjoying it.
Tell us a little about yourself. How did you get into hockey? Were there any family members that played, or was it just something you kind of gravitated towards as you were growing up?
Yeah, I think in Canada, especially in Winnipeg, during the winters, there's not a lot more to do than play hockey. And I got a brother that's 2 years older, and he was a hockey player, and I want to be just like him. So I kind of started like that, and yeah, I kind of fell in love with it. Played a bunch of sports growing up, but hockey was probably the one I was best at, and just kind of stuck with it all the way through.
Now, does your brother still currently play hockey to this day?
Yeah, he does. He played junior in the Western League until he was 20, and now he's playing Canadian University in at UBC.
So, growing up in Winnipeg, did you attend a lot of Jets games, or did you kind of grow up as a Winnipeg Jets fan?
Yeah, I mean, kind of when I was really young, the Jets weren't even around. It was just the Moose, so I would go to a few of those games. And when the Jets moved in, I kind of became a bit of a Jets fan when I was younger, and would go watch the games. And it was nice to be have the opportunity to watch NHL hockey. When there wasn't that when I was really young in Winnipeg, so that was awesome.
So, you played for the Winnipeg Ice and actually spent time as their team captain. What sticks out as your most memorable thing playing for Winnipeg? And are there any stories that go beyond the net that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can pinpoint one moment that stands out, but it was pretty special going making two deep playoff runs. My second to last year, we lost in the conference final, and last year, obviously lost in the finals. So that's one that really stings, and I don't know if we'll ever fully get over that one. But yeah, it was just such a good group of guys, a lot of guys. We were a good team. A lot of guys have moved on to play pro, whether it's the East Coast or a lot of guys in the American League, and actually just one guy in the NHL. So we had a good team, and it was a lot of fun. Obviously, disappointing ending, but a lot of good memories came from my time with the ice.
Oh, what do you remember about your time playing for the World Juniors? And did you get a chance to play against any of your fellow Iowa Wild teammates in the tournament?
Yeah, I think when I played, we didn't play against Czech, so we wouldn't have played against Spot Czech. Played against Petrovsky. He was with Slovakia. But and then Wallstat too. We played against as well.
Where is your current medal from the World Junior Championship?
It's at home with the other, I guess, accolades in Winnipeg.
So you were selected first round in 2021. What do you remember about draft day? And prior to draft day, did you have any conversation with Bill Gehring going into the draft?
Yeah, I with throughout COVID, didn't really get any face-to-face meetings with Billy. So just kind of had one Zoom call with him and the scouting staff. Yeah, leading up to draft day, didn't really have any idea it was going to be Minnesota. You kind of just sit and wait and hope your name gets called until it did. So that was a relief and a special moment.
Now, do you want to let us know? Are there any other teams that were talking to you about that time, or is that something you're keeping under wraps?
Yeah, I think I was in touch with I probably had a conversation, at least a conversation with, I would say probably 30, maybe all the teams. Hard to say exactly the number, but yeah, I definitely talked to the majority of the teams.
So, as you think about your career, are there any players that you kind of modeled your game after, or were kind of your favorites growing up that you wanted to be that player when you got older?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd model my game after this player, but definitely wish I could play like him. And he was so much fun to watch. Was Dustin Bufflin. Kind of growing up in Winnipeg, he was the it guy there. He was the superstar, and I was a fan favorite. He was my favorite player, so I loved watching him, and he played the game in a way that was fun to watch.
Now, did you ever get a chance to meet Big Buff at all?
Yeah, actually, one time it was one of the team's first years in Winnipeg. I was at Joey's restaurant in Winnipeg, and he was there, and I think probably went and annoyed him with my brother and maybe ruined his nice dinner. But I remember I got a picture with him and I got him to sign my napkin, so that's kind of a funny story.
So now that Winnipeg has moved on to Wenatchee, do you still follow the team in Wenatchee quite a bit?
Yeah, I do fall a little bit. Their team looks a lot different than we were last year with guys moving on, and they made some trades at the deadline, but still follow the scores, and even the guys that were on my team last year elsewhere, definitely stay uh, stay following them too.
So as you think about your time in Iowa, how do you prepare for each game? Do you have any superstitions or routines that you go through before each game?
Yeah, I keep my game day schedule pretty particular and the same. We usually have a morning skate in the morning, so go and stretch and then skate and get in the cold tub and then come home for the same pregame meal of chicken and rice and shut it down for a little nap and back to the rink and try to warm the body up and have a cup of coffee and get ready to play.
Now at practice, are you kind of the straightforward focus guy, or do you kind of goof around a little bit at practice?
Yeah, I like to have fun, but I think there's also time and a place for that in practice. I think there's ways to compete hard against your teammates and push each other, but still be able to smile, and it's a healthy amount of competition, I think. And I like to have fun, but I also like to keep it pretty straightforward at the same time.
So as you think about the locker room, fans always love kind of going back behind the scenes. Who's the biggest joker in the locker room?
Yeah, I think a lot of the jokes kind of run through Brendan Miller and Adam Beckman. Those two guys always seem to have something to say, and especially as a younger guy, I get jarred at quite a bit, but it's a lot of fun, and I kind of go back and forth with those guys, and it's a lot of fun. Michael O'Leary too. He's always in the mix as well.
So what has kind of stuck out about your most memorable thing about the season? Are there any goals or any assists that kind of stick out as your favorite thing so far this season?
Yeah, my first goal was a pretty memorable one. I think I took a double minor, was sitting in the box for 4 minutes, kind of a bad penalty in a close game in Chicago, and kind of sit in the box a little anxious, hoping we don't get scored on, and step out of the box and found myself with a partial breakaway and was able to get my first one. So that was kind of a funny first goal story, but yeah, that one sticks out for sure.
So kind of going off of that, as you think about your upcoming NHL career, if you could get your first goal against any current NHL goalie, who would you like to score against and how would you like to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think any of them, if I can ever get there, I don't want to be picking and choosing. But however it goes in, a lot of first goals seem to be greasy garbage goals. So if it's that way, or if it's a nice one, if it ever happens, I'll take anything I can get.
As you think about Iowa, what's your favorite thing about Des Moines and being here in Iowa this year?
Yeah, I love the fans. Our rink, and we get a good crowd going. And Friday, Saturday night, it's a lot of fun. It feels like showtime, and they get going really good. That's got to be my favorite part. Just playing in front of our crowd, and they support us so well. It's a lot of fun when we're at home and the crowd's going.
I just want to know, is there any significance in wearing the number 71?
No, number seven's kind of always been my number. Obviously, I'm not going to get that one here. We have a pretty good player wearing number seven. So, number 71 was my camp number in Minnesota, the past three NHL camps I've been at, and I just figured I'd stick with it and not try to overthink it. So, yeah, it's kind of how I got to play with it this year.
So on the off nights like tonight, do you guys watch the Big Club and you take notes, or do you kind of try to model your game after any of the guys that might be playing up with in Minnesota?
Yeah, I definitely like to watch when we have the day off or we're not playing and they are. I think a great guy for me to watch. They play a similar system to us and similar game style to us. So I think a great guy for me to watch is Jonas Brodin. He's obviously, I think he's such an underrated player. Maybe starting to get a little bit more um, attention that he deserves. But yeah, I think he skates well, and I think that's also a strength in my game. And he's a defensive first player that can also create offense in similar ways that I do. So I like to watch him, and also a left shot, so that makes it easier to put myself in his shoes.
When you're on the road, is there any AHL cities that you kind of circle on your calendar that you really enjoy going to? And are there any certain places in that city that you really enjoy?
Yeah, probably the first one I'd have to say is Winnipeg, playing in Manitoba just at home. I don't think other guys are as enthusiastic for that trip as I am, but it's my favorite place in the world. And yeah, getting to play in front of friends and family is it's pretty special. But other than that, it's I'm still so new to the league. We went to Hershey this year, which is kind of a historic place, and they get good crowds there. And then it was new for me. We were just on a road trip in San Diego and Arizona. I've never really been to a place like that and played hockey before. So that was interesting and that was fun. So yeah, just kind of still feeling it out.
Do you have any special go-to warm-up songs or playlists that you really enjoy listening to before the game?
I don't know if I have anything I've listened to every time. I always like Nickelback and kind of rock and roll and then kind of old school rap. That's kind of my sort of thing. So whatever's on in the room usually flies. I'm not too picky.
We saw Nickelback at the Iowa State Fair. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, and it was probably one of the best concerts that we've ever been to. Very underrated, but they bring it all the time.
Yeah, I think they're a bit of a bigger deal in Canada than they are here in the States, being a Canadian band, especially a Western Canadian band. So they came to Winnipeg this summer and I went and it was unreal. Like I want to see them again.
Superstitions or pregame rituals that you always do, like last one off the ice or skates a certain way, certain tape job or anything?
Yeah, I like to do a few little things. I like to tape my stick in between every period, wax it the same way. I do a few similar things in on ice warm up all the time. But just kind of ways to make me, feel comfortable. And because we play so many games, you want to make sure you're ready to go for each one. So if I think it's just a way for hockey players to feel comfort and focus and the same kind of commitment to every game.
So if you weren't playing hockey, what would you like to do in your free time? Or is there any other sports you kind of gravitate towards? Or is there any special hobbies that you would really enjoy doing?
Yeah, I do. I do like other sports. I played basketball and football and baseball all growing up. I don't know if I'd still be doing that if I went with those sports, but I do like them. I don't know what I'd be doing if it wasn't for hockey. It's kind of always been what I want to do, figure something out, but yeah, I don't know exactly what it would be.
So have any of your teammates kind of turned you into an NFL fan? And if so, do you have a Super Bowl favorite this year?
Yeah, I think a bit of a culture shock kind of coming to the States is there's no way you can avoid following what's going on in the NFL. When you're here, everyone's talking about it. Between the fantasy football and everyone's got their teams. So yeah, I've definitely followed them. I don't know if I have a favorite team yet. I'm kind of trying to like pick one, I guess. I think Minnesota's the easy choice there, so I followed them a little bit more than I did the rest of the teams this year. But my Super Bowl favorite, I'm going to say San Francisco, kind of an easy answer there, but they've been a powerhouse all year, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know too much, but that's my guess.
Do the guys do end up doing a fantasy football this year? And who's leading it if you guys do one?
Yeah, they I wasn't in the team one this year. I think they kind of had one going maybe from last year. I think Brendan Miller won it. I could be wrong, but I know he was in the mix at the end, so
Is there any places in Iowa you'd love to go that you haven't had a chance to visit yet?
yeah, I mean, I've heard of a few different like restaurants I haven't gone out to try yet. In all of Iowa, I know like the college sports are huge here, which I haven't seen any games for anything yet, so I think that would be fun to experience too. Yeah, so maybe something like that.
Do you have any special hidden talents that you're willing to share with the fans?
I can juggle. I can juggle up to 4 balls, so that's something I can do. Um, Other than that, I think that's probably all I got.
What's your favorite thing about the fans coming each night to the rink?
Yeah, just the support we feel, and I know they get rowdy, and when we're mixing it up, they're right there with us. Picking us up when we're down, and I've scored 1 goal at home this year, and it was a pretty special feeling in front of a big crowd, and yeah, I just want to win for them.
Well, I know earlier in the year you went off on a gift wrap challenge against one of your teammates. So after looking at the challenge, who is wrapping your gifts for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I actually after I did that video, that was I don't know when they posted it, but when we did it, it was kind of before we were started wrapping Christmas presents. And after I did that one, I went on YouTube and looked up how to wrap presents like I do every year, and figured out you only need one piece of paper to wrap a present. You don't need to cut up a bunch. So I did a little bit better, but still wasn't winning any awards with what I worked on after that.
So you're saying gift bags or Amazon free wraps the way to go?
Yeah, that's the best. Gift bags, free wrap, mom and dad. So anything I can find.
last questions I have is, what's something you want Minnesota Wild fans to remember about you? And what advice do you have for kids that either want to get into the game of hockey or want to learn how to play the defenseman position?
Yeah, I just want to hopefully be remembered as someone that works hard and will do whatever it takes to win. I don't know exactly how things are going to pan out, but that's all I can kind of control. And any advice I would give to kids trying to make it is just stay committed, and if you want it, you gotta stay serious to it because there's going to be ups and downs, and you can't quit when something doesn't go your way, and it's a long road, and I'm still going through that myself. So just staying resilient and not giving up.
So one last question. If Bill Guerin's watching, might be a shout out to him. Are there any players that you still see playing in juniors that you would love to have on your Iowa Wild team with you?
Yeah, I don't know where I'd go with that one. I think a lot of the guys I played with in junior are kind of drafted or property of other teams. Um, but I'll say Daniel Hauser, he was our goalie in Winnipeg, and he was a rock for us back there. So hopefully I want to see him have success. There's a lot of guys, but he's one that sticks out.
Well, that's all the questions I have. I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys have an amazing season, and I just want to say thank you for doing this today.
Yeah, thanks. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Carson.
All good. Have a good one.